Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about all the Batmans that are not going down on cats. Let's talk about bats. All right, so on July 14th, we all found out that Batman cannot eat pussy. Right before Juneteenth, how dare. Hey guys, so I want to do something different. I'm working on this big WandaVision video, so I want to do something smaller, just cute for you guys. And if you don't like this, I will just keep these on Nebula. But I figured while I was working on a bigger video, I'd give you a little something. Sorry about the fireworks, by the way. I live in Crown Heights, and it's that time of the year, so yeah, June 14th found out that Batman can't eat pussy, which is more to say that DC will not allow Batman to eat pussy because it's not heroic. And therefore hard to sell toys of the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight. He is allowed to have sex with his surrogate son's ex-girlfriend and technically his kind of co-worker's daughter. So what was this about? What was going on? So basically the creators of the adult animated series Harley Quinn, which is on HBO Max, explained that they had a scene in the upcoming third season where Batman is going down to town on Selena Kyle's Catwoman, and it was cut because he doesn't do that, according to executives. It's incredibly gratifying and free to be using characters that are considered villains because you get so much more leeway, Halpern said. A perfect example of that is in this third season of Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman, and DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that. So we said, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? They were like, no, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone. That's a statement. That is what they think. Weird. Don't know how they came to that conclusion. And it was hilarious. I know I tweeted on my Twitter, I was like, I know my boy Khalil is eating the puss. Khalil is what I call Superman. Kal-El. This whole statement was weird to me, but I wanted to use this as a way to discuss something that has been really aggravating me for a long time, which is sort of the puritanical way that sex is being treated in film. We've really lost a lot of the PG-13 sex comedies or sexual comedies that we used to have. And whenever we talk about these issues, especially when it comes to like the MCU, everyone always acts like you're asking for hardcore pornography. Like you're asking for Tony Stark to just pound into Pepper Potts. And it's like, no, we are not saying that. I mean, some of us are saying that. I'm saying fan fiction will provide me. But what we're talking about is the lack of romance that is in the mainstream outside of like your Netflix rom-coms. Again, Batman literally had sex with Batgirl in that terrible Killing Joke adaptation that was added on at the beginning to give her character more to do because like they thought that that's what we meant. Feminists, why aren't you happy? We had Batgirl on top. But going down on his girlfriend, fiance, baby moms, like, you mean to tell me Talia al Ghul, daughter of the Demon's Head, is out here not getting head? I don't think, it don't seem correct to me. I don't approve. I think these are shenanigans. I think this is propaganda. This is also part of this larger issue about how certain kinds of pleasure on screen are seen as more vulgar. In This Film Is Not Yet Rated, which was a 2006 American documentary about like the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America's rating system, one of the things that they bring up is how certain sexual activities are treated as more explicit than others. So if a woman is having an orgasm, if you see a woman's pubic hair, if like a man is going down on a woman, anything about female sexuality. And But I'm a Cheerleader, there's a scene where the main character is like masturbating over her clothes. But that was seen by the MPAA as too explicit, and it gave them an NC-17, which then had to be cut down.
Really offensive thing. At the time that I submitted it to the ratings board, American Pie had just come out. I had seen the trailer a million times of Jason Biggs masturbating in an apple pie in the trailer. So the ratings board then tells me that in order to get an R, I have to cut one of my girls masturbating over her underwear, fully clothed, and you don't see anything.
I said to my lawyer, well, what were the counts? You know, what were the problems? Well, there were 3. We, after Brandon goes down on Lana, he comes up and he wipes the cum off his mouth. What's the problem? Well, we don't really know, but that's really offensive.
It's so weird that showing female pleasure, showing, in this case, a cis man going down on a cis woman, is treated as something that's like not something that you can use to sell toys. First of all, you've clearly never seen the Hulk toys that they have. What's even more so is that we're talking about an R-rated animated series in which people get eaten by evil trees, disemboweled, okay? Where people say fuck and cunt, whatever, where sex is a part of the narrative, because I don't think the sex is explicit in that show anyway. I mean, I unfortunately still watch Big Mouth, so like the bar is in hell, but high. It's high in hell. 7th circle. It's weird to me that it can be so hardcore bubbles about everything else, but when it comes to showing Batman eating pussy, something that would make him honestly even more of an icon, they're like, And again, and anytime you bring this up, people treat it as if you're just asking for perverseness, when actually what you're asking is like, if we're gonna have these adult characters in an adult show engage in sexual activity, why can we not see a woman be pleasured? I was recently talking about Loki and how it had in the first episode, no spoilers, but how there were a lot of like little things that were very element of like, oh, this is very like gay kinky right here. And I jokingly brought it up in an article while going into very much talk about how sexless the MCU is. And of course people are like, why do you want hardcore gay sex on a kid's show? It's this way of like that sex, or even just mentioning gay kink altogether, has to lead to like hardcore sex porn. Because first of all, I do not need a Disney Plus series to give me hardcore gay sex. I have AO3 for that, and she provides. But secondly, these shows, they're not kid shows. They're PG-13. Okay? That means parental guidance suggestion. That means that there is a level of language, sexual activity, violence that we see. I mean, in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, did we forget, spoiler alert, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, skip to here. Did we forget that Nazi America fucking decapitated a man with his shield and we see the blood? Like, that's not for children. And also, we need to clarify what we mean when we say children. So to me, when I think of PG-13, I mean 13 and down. So if you're younger than 13, parental guidance suggestion, okay? You can see it, but you might have some questions at the end of that production. PG-13 movies have had sex in them, like Titanic. PG-13 movie, handprint, smeared all over it, like cream cheese on a bagel, you know? You see Kate Winslet titty. That's a PG-13 titty. In the first Iron Man movie, Tony Stark has sex with a woman who is not Pepper Potts. Okay? He has intercourse with a woman in a PG-13 movie. Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor have sex. It's a nice, tasteful fade to black. In the second movie, that's terrible. You know they smashing, okay? Rock'em's. They're having sex. So much sex, one could say that there's some dubious consent issues because it's another man's body. But they have sex. It's not, the world did not end. Why are we trying to erase healthy sexual activities in these films? Like, what are you actually afraid of doing? Like, do you not know how to do an in-between between hardcore porn and just like tenderness? And to me, it's not even a case of wanting to explore these characters as like Arrow or Ace, which would be actually quite interesting to have a character that isn't romantic, that doesn't have sexual, like that I think would be great. Why won't they stop? Why won't they stop? But that's not what they're doing. They just don't know how to write romance, and they just are like hetero smash. But most of the time people ship the two best friend characters because they actually get development, because they actually get to spend time together, because there's actual bonds. I would say overall, besides Black Panther, the exception to this in the MCU would probably be the Guardians films, because they are very much about this insular group of characters. Not insular, but they're about this core group of characters, and so a lot of their development is about their relationship and their bond. So you see them, there's a sense of intimacy, even though I think that Gamora and Peter saying they love each other in Infinity, whatever the fuck, is too soon narratively for what was being set up. There is tenderness to the way they interact. There is growth. There's a lot of things that they're dealing with. Like, there is an intimacy in their bond and their interactions, which is valuable to see. And it's not to say that all of the romances are bad in the MCU, but there is this way that, like, I think of like Captain America, where Steve kisses Sharon and it's like a dry fart. It's embarrassing. Like, it's dry. So dry. That's why she a terrorist now. And to me, what made WandaVision a burst of like fresh air, among other things, was that, like, it was a romance that allowed us to see the connection between these two characters and let it be more than just a few scenes of actors putting a lot more emotion into character stories that we haven't really been allowed to see. Like, they don't do the work of creating that intimacy. Like, in a lot of ways, the shorthand that we experience are the bond between the actors, how they very much fill in the gaps, and we as the audience are doing a lot of the legwork to make these emotional connections that the films are not taking the time to do. And that is a failure on their part. Considering that the MCU has a stranglehold on like every bankable actor right now, every director has a lot of talent, money, and support around it, I'm invested in it being a franchise that is able to actually depict loving, caring relationships besides just like T'Challa and Nakia. Like, I would like them to be able to move forward. Actually, that is a fucking baby. These PG-13 movies end up being so violent, but also very overall bloodless, which is also kind of like a weird double-edged sword. Like, everything is so clean. One of the things that people really love about Die Hard, and like I've always praised it for, is that John McClane, and especially in that first movie, he's getting hurt, he's injured, he has to be pragmatic. There's actual pain and tension in his body, and it affects how he moves. Like, you are seeing characters have to be like not completely, totally invulnerable, and I think that's also valuable as well. So there is the humanity of pain and love and tenderness is just missing so much, so often. And I think it's weird to me because comics are filled with epic romances and love stories. I mean, like Lois and Clark, like Lois and Clark are like couple goals. My God, like, you know, like I Mary Jane and Peter Parker, like people literally hid when they got divorced in the comics because they felt it was bullshit. Like there's like West Allen on The Flash. West Allen is actually a great example because they don't have sex on the show, but they have such great intimacy for the most part. Like, that's what I want. I'm not asking for sex. I'm asking for an investment in the relationship and love that we're supposed to see in these characters. It's not even with their primary partner, with their friends. And I think that the platonic friendship is great, but because like we have to fill in the blanks, because it's always like, I gotta find my friend, I got my friend, boom, done. So I just would like more from all of these films to give a better sense of intimacy. And again, to stop this idea that asking for healthy depictions of heroes that people look up to engaging in healthy sexual or intimate relationships means you're asking for porn. Like, oh my God, why are you guys so immature when it comes to sexuality? Like, how is asking for healthy depictions of intimate partner relationships the same thing as asking for hardcore pornography? Also, let's not pretend like this is less horny than what we've had before, because let me say something, there is more sex in Justice League Unlimited than the MC, okay? Because Jon Stewart, he hit it in 2 different lives.
You just haven't figured it out yet. Now get back in there.
he had Shayera so sprung in ancient Egypt and in the present day. So yeah, I think it's really weird and silly that on an adult animated show where sex and violence and saying cunt are like, yes, oh my god, because I don't love the Harley Quinn show. There'll be a video about that on Patreon and Nebula soon. But, or if you want it here, let me know in the comments below. But like, I don't love that show, but I've come to enjoy it over time. And to think that that is a line that they're not allowed to cross is so... Also, like, you mean to tell... Like, first of all, I know Clark is eating that pussy, okay? Because he's from the Midwest, okay? He's a loving baby... He's a lovely country boy who love his mama. Like, you know Clark be eating it. Okay, like, he gonna be playing that shit and eating the puss. God bless. Lois would not accept anything less than her nut. Period.